Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. Let's take a look at the headlines. Renowned world economist Professor Jeffrey Sachs tips Uganda on funding development interventions. Speaker of Parliament Anita Among tasks her deputy to assess Luweero tour and give a report. While Parliament passes bill to scrap National Records and Archives Agency. And in sports, the national under-20 football team registers success with a 2-1 victory against SEFC of Ethiopia. Hello once again. Elizabeth Nakakoni will join us on sign language. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, a renowned world economist, says that Uganda needs to borrow more money to fund development interventions or else remain entangled in poverty. This comes at a time where some local economists have been bashing the government for the high debt burden the country has. Professor Sachs made the remarks this morning while meeting ministers, government officials led by the Prime Minister Robina Nabanja.
Uganda needs effective strategies to address the complex poverty which is part of a global battle, human-induced, climate change, international debt and financial crisis, and support national economic reforms. But all require budget funding, which renowned economic professor Sachs says that Uganda must borrow to finance this development agenda. The economist proposes that Uganda needs to acquire long-term loans that require repayment for not less than 30 years.
Keep your budget under control. Remain poor, that's not our problem. Our problem only comes if you default. So better not to borrow, stay poor, children aren't in school, no health coverage, that's okay. Just don't default and don't get into high inflation.
Professor Sachs says parish development model could be good because it fulfills the sustainable development goals.
Every household needs a light bulb for the kids to study. Every household needs electricity for cooking, so you're not chopping down the forests.
Professor Sachs says Uganda needs to make use of all opportunities available, such as the East African Community Market and Africa Free Trade Area for development.
At the beginning that I'm going to leave the private sector part. What's the public sector responsibility, aside from good policy and an enabling environment, is skilled workforce and physical infrastructure.
The area of investment for Uganda needs to target education, health, agriculture, industry, and ICT. The Prime Minister Robina Nabanja says that Uganda will tap into Professor Sachs' experience for its development.
It says we borrow as much as we can, as long as these loans are long-term, and as long as the money is put to the good use, and as long as because he says in 30 years Uganda will be a developed country and we shall be able to pay all these loans at ease. And this will be a stimuli.
Ministers and permanent secretaries made that case at the meeting.
I'm keen to engage with you, given your global experience and knowledge in financing and implementing of SDGs, on how we can mobilize financing in an appropriate and a sustainable manner.
A country-wide digital skilling, awareness and developing and implementing the national digital skill information framework.
The activities that are done, and we greatly think that other areas should be given priority.
And the purpose of the parish development model is to give you some kickstart fund, put it in your economic enterprise at your home level so that you can feed your home.
The loans in health don't come so easy. They only come when they are concessional loans, which are rare.
Right now, the value attached to it is actually not there. And I think with the Ministry of Finance, we are now going into natural capital accounting so that the value of the natural resources are appreciated and factored into the development.
Rhoda Ngonzi, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development and Secretary to Treasury, says Uganda is managing its debt well and was happy to learn that Professor Sanchez is recommending more borrowing to Uganda.
Here in Uganda, our debt is quite well structured. But replacement to remain politically correct is what we are emphasizing now, plus export promotion. How do we produce for the export, especially in the African region?
Professor Sanchez is in Uganda at the invitation of the Prime Minister Robina Nabanja to discuss strategies of accelerating Uganda's development agenda. Shaidat Nesakum, UBC News.
Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has assigned her deputy, Thomas Tayabwa, to tour the Luweero Hospital project and assess the progress of construction and provide a report to Parliament. During parliamentary sitting, Anita Among made this resolution following the denial of access to the site by opposition members of Parliament to do their oversight role despite them having secured clearance from Ministry of Health. Parliament also resolved that the Auditor General's report on Luweero Hospital be presented to Parliament.
Parliament has deliberated on the bills for the rationalization of government agencies and the communication to the House. The Speaker raised the issue of denying access to opposition members of Parliament to assess the progress of the construction of Luweero Hospital. Anita Among tasked Third Deputy Prime Minister Rukia Nakadama why government is not allowing Parliament to do its oversight role on Luweero Specialized Hospital project.
Accountability for the monies that we give out to institutions that get money from government, and as per Article 164 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, it's just prudent enough that for us we must do our oversight role as Parliament and ensure that we make a follow-up on how much money has been given to an institution, how much money has been used, is there value for money.
Although Nakadama promised to follow up with Ministry of Health, the debate erupted in the House on what institution is managing the Luweero project. This brought about an argument between Ibrahim Ssemujju MP Kira Municipality and State Minister for Trade David Bahati, whom Ssemujju claimed was responsible for the situation of Luweero project.
And the Auditor General says that actually they have paid money for even no work that has been certified by over 70 million US dollars. That's the report of the Auditor General. Bahati, who was that time representing finance here all the time, he said we must approve this loan request today, immediately, or else we are going to begin paying fines. And that project was supposed to have been constructed under 48 months. It is now 5 years. I think maybe there should be a time when these people are being matched through zero.
Considering this matter, we can also look at the special report of the Auditor General that he has carried out on Luweero. The details, if I utter them out that I've read, I will bias the investigation that...
It would be procedural right to wait for that report to come here. Possibly, it could answer most of the questions we're putting out, because the Auditor General, the Auditor General is part of Parliament. By the fact that he was allowed to access the site, do an audit, I believe he will give us the proper answers because he's part of this Parliament. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Speaker of Parliament assigned the Deputy Speaker Thomas Tayabwa to follow up on Luweero and give a report to Parliament, and the Clerk to Parliament to follow up on the Auditor General's report about the same. The Leader of Opposition, Joe Senyonyi, said government needs to tell the people who is in charge of Luweero Specialized Hospital project.
Parliament, we appropriate this money, billions of shillings on an annual basis. Why is it that now security does not want us to go and establish the money that we are sending? What is it doing? With your indulgence, Madam Speaker, I think the Minister of Internal Affairs needs to let this House know why, as Parliament, we cannot have access. You have said the Deputy Speaker should go there on Wednesday. As the Minister of Health has said, we wish him a successful tour. And even legally, of promissory notes. Before another promissory note is issued, the contractor is meant to give a certificate of milestone completion.
Yes.
And that's the accountability we want. So far, I mean, why do you keep issuing promissory notes?
Maybe we
and
need
there's no
to get the
accountability?
certificates of the milestone completion that were given to finance before finance made payments.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, and that's part of the accountability that we are demanding.
He proposed that the Ministry for Finance and that of Health give a milestone completion certificate for this project. There was a revised agreement where the amount of the project was increased and scope of work decreased, which Joel Senyonyi says was not tabled or even approved by Parliament. One of the legislators, Ariko Herbert Edmond, Soroti Division East MP, who was in the Committee of National Economy that debated the Luweero project loan, wonders who authorized Enrique Penet to take on the construction, yet the loan that the House approved included Rocco. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetamenji in Kampala.
The National Records and Archives Agency has been resolved by Parliament. In the ongoing rationalisation move, Parliament this morning passed the National Records Amendment Bill 2024 into law. The intended law will shift the functions of the then National Records and Archives Agency to the Ministry of Public Service. Minister for Public Service welcomed the move by the August House. No MPs failed to proceed with some of the bills.
Managing Uganda's archival records will be the responsibility of the Minister of Public Service if the President agrees with the Parliament's unanimous decision to pass the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024.
Suspension of the rule in respect to the debate on the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Who are the representatives being given time to debate at this stage the report? And then we rush and we go into the committee stage when the bills have not been adequately consulted upon. We have not been sent back as MPs to go and consult. The chairperson did not invite the stakeholders, Uganda Law Society and whoever affected to come. The only chance to address the issue of public participation would be by allowing debate here.
The Tuesday morning session, chaired by Speaker Anita Monk, deliberated and succeeded with dissolving the National Records and Archives Agency, which had the mandate to preserve and manage Uganda archival records, the national documented heritage for cultural, research and historical values.
Ensuring that a senior officer is designated to superintend the action taken in each organ of state in respect of this act. Justification. For clarity and to ensure that a senior officer is designated for that purpose.
The Minister for Public Service, Muruli Mukasa, welcomed the move, which fits well in the objectives of rationalization, intending to cut government expenses and end duplication of roles.
I put a question that the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 be read and the third time and do pass. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. Ayes have it.
A bill for an...
The session also witnessed Parliament discontinuing a section of bills after the MPs interested the Speaker on the undefined certificates of financial implication. This implies that the bills discontinued will be retabled.
The Attorney General renders advice. The bills have sponsors. So my advice is that the bills with certificates of financial implication which are defective be withdrawn. That's my advice.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwetamenji, UBC News.
Speaker of Parliament Anita Among has directed Minister for Internal Affairs to bring a report on murders in the country. This follows the murder of the leader of the Ndiga clan, Daniel Bosa, in Lunguja over the weekend. During parliamentary seating, legislators raised concern over many unresolved murders, gun violence, and cases not conclusively being handled.
Parliament, headed by Speaker Anita Among, has extended their condolences to the people of Buganda, people of Endiga clan, and the aggrieved family of the fallen leader of Endiga clan, Daniel Bossa, who was murdered in cold blood in Longoja, a Kampala suburb, over the weekend. This issue was raised in the communication of the chair of Tuesday's sitting, Anita Among, who expressed the need for Ugandans to be tolerant when it comes to murders in the country. She said police needs to make sure that CCTV cameras are operational to follow up this case.
On the issue of the murders, Ugandans really need to be tolerant. Let's accept to live with each other, irrespective of whatever problems that could be there. Killing is not a solution. And generally, people of Uganda, as Parliament of Uganda, we bring in our condolence on the loss of the clan leader. Please accept our condolence, and we are with you.
Some legislators expressed the need for the ministry responsible to give an update on the installation of CCTV cameras and a report on murders, plus expeditiously debating the issue of gun violence.
Rampant killing. We need to find out why are we having a lot of guns in the public. We need to find that out. For example, these people who killed the Omukuru Wechika, the head of the clan of Ondiga, these are people who are civilians. The system of people having guns irregularly, Madam Speaker, is growing day by day.
Regrettable, and the people of Uganda should not take the law in their own hands. We should actually detest generally the murder of our citizens in cold blood.
Same thing, there are several police posts which are removed of recently from different areas of the country. Isn't it high time that the Minister of Internal Affairs, General Kahindo Tafire, restores such police posts in different areas of the country?
Member of Parliament Kira Municipality Ibrahim Semojonganda asked to understand from people responsible for security why police was not at site when the Wananchi were chasing the suspects. Member of Parliament Butambala County Muwanga Chivumbi requested the President to return to Parliament and account for the measures so far taken to address murders.
But it's Wananchi chasing the suspects, and because of their anger and lack of training, they did what they did. So can we be told, where is security? If a murder in a capital city can happen, and for 3 kilometers, there are no soldiers, there are no policemen.
So many people, Right Honorable Speaker, that we may now reach a level where we demand that the President of Uganda comes back. We request, implore him to come back to Parliament to account for the 10 measures that were undertaken. And why? After the implement, and we have allocated billions of money in cameras.
Leader of opposition Joel Senyonyi said there are so many unresolved murders in the country. However, waits for the report that the Speaker of Parliament has directed the Ministry of Internal Affairs to bring to Parliament.
Increasingly get agitated. They are now taking matters in their own hands. I don't think that's a place we want to be at. This mob justice is actually not mob justice, it's mob action. These are people saying, we don't trust that the killers will be brought to book, let's deal with them ourselves. Once this becomes prevalent, even innocent people along the way could suffer.
I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Ngwetabinji.
The Deputy Inspector General of Government, Dr. Patricia Achan, has urged young graduates to design new innovations targeting to combat corruption. Dr. Achan was officiating at the Career Guidance Seminar at Uganda Christian University, organized by the True Inspiration Generation Network Africa, TIG, to equip university students with with skills on transitioning from school to the field of work.
The True Inspirational Generation Network Career Development Program aims at ensuring a smooth transition of students from school to the crowded job environment with the ability to make informed decisions.
But even as we talk about those assets, the most important asset for your business is you. You are thinking of running this thing. What do you know about it? What have you found out? What have you researched? Have you visited somebody who's doing the same thing? Make yourself the strongest asset for that business, the knowledgeable one. You don't need to hire the experts when you don't know. Some of them are not very good people. So you need to know.
The capacity building seminar attracted students from the field of law and that of medicine, emphasizing ethical codes governing these professions.
As we march to our next destination, to the workspace, in order to develop good networks, good morals, truthfulness, and honesty are very key. You can create good networks, but you need to build a good character. You need to be grounded in these values.
The Deputy Inspector General of Government, Dr. Patricia Achan, rallied young professionals towards fighting corruption.
Cases we do on corruption is basically because of the degeneration of values, where you find big people above 18 compromising and beginning to dip their hands in the pockets of government, in the coffers of government, and stealing. We are looking.
Young professionals are urged to adapt to the evolving digital world and establish instrumental networks.
Government supports you, because government does. The Uganda Investment Authority that I used to work for is always behind investors. Even SMEs, we have an SME division if you're going to start a small business. Don't forget about networking, which I talked about earlier. Don't forget about showing your products. Showing off in any way. Could be on social media. I have this, I have that, I have that. Who wants to buy it? It could be at the trade show.
To just Google right now, free online courses from Harvard Business School. They have a huge drop down, and they offer Python, everything to do with the new digital and artificial intelligence, everything that you want to know, and you can study them. And these courses are actually very short, about 6 weeks.
Young graduates are urged to design feasible business proposals to attract investment capital. Patricia Nandago reporting for UBC.
Now, subjecting mob justice to any suspect is not only committing an offense, but in turn hinders justice to both the victim and the suspect. This comes as at the time when a suspect alleged to have killed Ndiga clan head, engineer Daniel Bosa, was dealt with by the community during the arrest.
Mob justice is a form of extrajudicial punishment or retribution in which a person suspected of committing an offense is beaten by a crowd. In some cases, the alleged criminal dies in the process due to excessive beating. Under Article 28 of the Constitution, any person is presumed innocent until proven guilty, and for one to be subjected to killing before being taken to any court of law, it's also an offense.
Because ordinarily, if you kill someone who has credible evidence, a lot of things have been destroyed pertaining to the case. This is someone who would have given credible information regarding the case, where are they staying, how they operate, who are the funders, who are the people, among others. But now, if this person goes away, that information cannot be used.
Under Article 28 of the Constitution, any person is presumed innocent until proven guilty, and for one to be subjected to killing before being taken to courts of law, it's also an offense.
For instance, when you look at the Criminal Procedure Code Act, it clearly outlines the procedure under which someone suspected to having committed a crime is supposed to undergo through. One, you have to arrest this person. In arresting this person has to be arraigned in court. Uganda particularly is run by secular laws. Secular laws, these are the laws we have. These are laws that Parliament makes. Now, if the Constitution is presuming someone innocent, regardless of the incident which you yourself you have seen, that's the presumption. It cannot be taken away.
Sometimes mob justice is not only committed by civilians, but on several occasions, security operatives also do the same. in what they call using reasonable force.
But reasonable force is defined in regards to a case-per-case basis. The person we are talking about is a suspected terrorist. Reasonable force, you can shoot someone's legs, you can shoot someone's hands, you can shoot anywhere, but not aiming at killing.
The recent recorded incident is the one of the ADF suspects alleged in the murder that occurred at Queen Elizabeth National Park last year. In this incident, 2 suspects were killed by Marine security, leaving Ewan Choto Rashid Alias Njovu, who is now facing charges at Nakawa Court. Following the recent shooting of Ndiga clan head, Engineer Daniel Bosaruomwa at Lunguja, one of the suspects was subjected to mob justice.
There is evidence itself is being killed, because this is a person who's going to testify. This is a person who's going to lead to the arrest of other people or arrest of other persons. This is a person who's going to narrate. We have seen people being suspected of having committed crimes. When this person is brought before court, the person narrates the ordeal of how he or she committed the offense, which other persons were involved.
At times, the public suspects delay in getting justice from courts of law, and they take the law into their hands.
It is my humble prayer to the government and the judiciary to ensure that the judiciary is fully equipped. We have a good and reasonable number of judicial officers. Courts are well decentralized to ensure that in each and every corner, at least we have these courts. People to feel that indeed justice is being administered. All in all, it does not take away the fact that people are supposed to do mob justice themselves. This is a preserve of court. This is a preserve of the law.
Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Gomba West Member of Parliament Robina Rwakojo has lashed out at some officials from the Ministry of Lands for issuing multiple land titles on the same land, which has caused many people to kill each other. She implored the people of Gomba district to set targets if they are to improve livelihoods.
The Thanksgiving event for Gomba West Area Member of Parliament Robina Rwakojo was to appreciate the Lord for the successes in improving livelihoods of the people of Gomba. Robina Rwakojo says, as the people's representative, she was asked by the people's cry over land. She condemned the trachea and land theft perpetrated by some land ministry officials and the rampant theft of borders in the area. She urged the Ministry of Lands officials to stop messing up land titles, put many people at risk.
Then Ministry of Lands officials go and end up, messing up titles. I intend to bring officials from there for us to have sensitization, and then I also call upon people to respect other people's property.
Archdiocese of Chai Baraka Babitaza called upon the constituents to support the legislator and appreciate MP Robina Rwakojo for the services to the community and churches.
Basamu twagala kubebaza omu archdeacon aleno bakoze ebintu bikulu nnyo. Nga church tubebaza kubanga hostias bazituwa na wayini ate bagituwa.
Resident of Gomba told UBC Robina Rwakojo updates them regularly on parliament proceedings.
Robina tukoreire ebingi nibyatukoreire umugenzi wetu twatu bine ntubatu mwine ntwatara hamwe mfaka zazikwatira ha mukono mfuze naziyamba yanategambira dayare yatere cyahi nahabwe kirodona ntumusimu.
Women Member Parliament for Rwampara District Mole Asimwe called for moral support for better service delivery.
I like her way of doing things. I like the way she works with churches and religious leaders, the way she cooperates with elders in the constituency. So I decided to come.
Robert Katamba and Kayumba Stephen, News Tonight.
And workers for the environment have met communities in Hima Town Council to discuss tree planting as mitigation to the harsh climate. The senior water officer attached to Albert Water Management Zone Office, Gerald Babi, implored local leaders to rally communities in appreciating environmental conservation as a magic bullet to the extreme weather patterns in the region.
The workers for environment had entered Hima Town Council in Kasese district on the second day. The team held discussions with the town council leadership, with Geoffrey Ayen, the lead worker, disclosed the sole reason for working as a fact-finding mission for data collection.
You'll find people releasing like electricity in July, somewhere in January, when we have harsh weather. So I would request neighbors that every time there is a request from a certain area, put into consideration the weather patterns of those areas.
Some of those issues we wanted to be recorded as we discuss. We are going to work with it, present to Parliament for discussion, and then present to Uganda Water and Environment Week Conference and see how the government and also its partners can help to address some of these challenges.
Some councillors of Hima Town Council challenged the ministry on the need to tighten the fight against Kavera use.
Always there is a conflict between the technical and the political. So I don't know, is this the political this side? So the political you've done us bad. As we try to do our work, someone will come in that you cannot do this because you want to protect the votes. So as you improve politically, we shall act technically.
Later, led by the environment officer of Hima Town Council, Masika Olivia, the team visited a waterlogged site in Chinyamwenje area that has become a death trap for humans and livestock.
We have Hima cement processing plant, which uses clay as one of the raw materials in processing cement. So we have residents of this area who are given contract to supply clay. So one of the residents here was given a contract and supply clay, and he scooped clay from his land, and this was owned by that resident. This land here, it was originally very flat, but after scooping clay, and it was very deep, it was so deep that he was unable to rehabilitate the area. And fortunately, within that year when I was compelling him to rehabilitate, he passed on. So when he passed on, it was difficult for us to handle this problem. So what happened is the Hima cement deassociated itself from this quarry, because actually they were not the ones who mined the clay from here. For them, they only offered a contract for someone to supply clay. They didn't actually say, this is where you will pick it from. So as time went on, with the rains that come seasonally, the water kept on piling. So when it combined with the underground water, it now became a lake.
The residents want government and development partners to come to their rescue.
They don't have toilets because the water has gone up to their toilets, up to their bedrooms. The homes are breaking, and us as town council, given our small budget, we are not able to handle this problem.
The workers later walked to Mubuku Town Council at the periphery of River Nyamwamba in Kasese district. Justin Nakami, Dokas Kimono, UBC News.
Fred! Freddy! Fred Dollar! My boss, CEO Inojo!
the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the
Osmosis.
the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
The government of Uganda and the Uganda Bureau of Statistics is calling upon all stakeholders such as the chief administrative officers, city mayors, resident city commissioners, city clerks, city and division councillors, wards and LC chairpersons, as well as the residents and business communities to cooperate with the UBOS field teams as we embark on advanced preparations to conduct the National Population and Housing Census on the 10th of May 2024. The census will be a 10-day exercise to obtain statistical data and information that will be used for planning and policy formulation, including information on 1. How many we are, 2. Where we are, 3. How we are living, 4. What we own, and 5. Where we access services from. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics has now started listing of households and mapping in the 11 cities of Arua, Fort Portal, Gulu, Hoima, Jinja, Lira, Mbale, Masaka, Mbarara, Soroti, and in the Greater Kampala comprising of Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono districts. For more information, please call 0755 342 128 or 0773 342 128. This message is brought to you by the Executive Director and Census Commissioner, Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Census 2024. It matters to be counted.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Tonight. The International War Crimes Division of the High Court has confirmed charges against 9 out of 14 suspects accused of the twin bombings that occurred at CPS and Parliamentary Avenue in Kampala on the 16th of November 2021. Court has confirmed charges of terrorism and belonging to a terrorist organization.
In the ruling read by the Registrar of International War Crimes Division Court by Justice Richard Wawirewe, court confirmed the charges against 9 suspects, among others Mwonge Yusuf, Chiemba Ismail, Nsubuga Nadil Faizo, Ishaka Jero, Wambide Twaha, Chiriowa Jamada Afan, Sebunya Hassan, Musengozi Sadiq, and Bumba Omal. In the ruling, Justice Wawire was of the view that prosecution presented to court sufficient evidence to have the 9 suspects tried. Justice Wawire, however, declined to confirm charges against 5 of the suspects, whom court has acquitted. The remaining suspects have been referred to the trial panel to start full hearing of the case. Prosecution is represented by Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions, Thomas Jatiko, and the accuser represented by lawyer Asimwe Anthony. Prosecution will present 35 witnesses and 13 exhibits, among other evidence. The twin bombings that occurred at CPS and Parliamentary Avenue in Kampala left 6 people dead and 33 injured. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
And the plight of older persons in Uganda continues to attract the attention of elderly welfare advocates. This underscores the need for inclusiveness through a united voice in supporting the well-being of senior citizens. State Minister for the Elderly Affairs, Gidudu Mafwabi, was speaking during a Kampala engagement with members of Parliament subscribing to the Forum for Social Protection.
Somebody might even be writing only his relatives in order to get the money. And at the end of the day, the ministry says, we have sent the money.
I have equally mobilized. But if you mobilize and the people don't get the money, and we are quickly moving into a voting era, you know what that means.
And the ones who have benefited
take the money as a token of appreciation for their voting.
These were concerns from members of the Parliamentary Forum on Social Protection. They rotated around the welfare of elderly persons in Uganda. The point of focus was on the paper presented by Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development about the Special Enterprise Grant for Older Persons, SEGOP.
SEGOP will target groups of between 5 to 10. You can be 5, you can be 6, but you can't be 11, you can be 9, I think we're together, between 5 to 10.
The program targets elderly persons between 60 to 79 years. It is different from the Social Assistance Grants for Empowerment, SAGE, whose beneficiaries are above 80 years of age. State Minister for Elderly Affairs, Gidudu Mafwavi, wants more cooperation in the quest for elderly welfare.
Allow me make a humble appeal on behalf of my fellow older persons of Uganda that we need to have a united voice to advocate for two things. The lowering of the eligibility age for SAGE from 80 years to 75 years, the budget increase of SEGOP from the current 5 billion to at least 100.
Members of Parliament are in agreement.
Groups should not be formed to get money from government. No, they should be formed for development, for doing projects. If you get government support, well and good. If you don't get it, life goes on.
The wise man has always said that when we move together, we move further and we walk a longer distance. We hope to move with you. Don't leave members of parliament behind.
Because you see some people, they just give this money to their relatives, and this money cannot move to other groups. And my advice to you is, please, like I wrote district, I want to open to you. We have so many challenges of the corruption. So when this program is there, you involve us, we don't help you, then for selections.
Uganda is home to 2.2 million older persons, according to a statistical abstract of 2022. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Hi, my name is Dennis Masindo Nyango, former Uganda Cranes captain and goalkeeper. My kind of a tank at home is a Crest tank. I use it at the farm and at home. I recommend it for everyone.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Welcome back. Now in business, the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development has commenced a series of consultations in the Acholi sub-region to enhance communities' access to customary land titles. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Dr. Sokalanyi, and technical staff have rolled off the activity with a stakeholder meeting in Gulu City.
The Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development wants communities in the Acholi sub-region who are under the communal land ownership to take advantage of the ongoing efforts by government towards issuing them with certifications of titles. The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Dr. Sokalanyi, who is overseeing the 2 weeks exercise, says The consultative meetings seek to share workings of the law in relations to land registration, focusing on customary land registration.
We'll be coming all those questions which are unanswered at this level now. Let's take them back. We all hail from parishes, sub-counties, and homes. We take them back and we involve as many people.
She was speaking in Guru City during the start of the 2 weeks exercise attended by political and cultural leaders from the 8 districts of Acholi sub-region, landowners, and the business fraternity.
That when we handle the issue of land in Acholi, we should be very cautious. We the living today, we shall go. How about the unborn? Where will they live? This certificate of customary ownership of land may create a lot of land speculators around.
Activities included engagement with communities, district land boards, area land committees on registration of customary land certification procedures, physical planning, and alternative dispute resolution, and customary tenure of land. The chairperson of the Uganda Land Commission, Professor Nyekopeni Mojisais, the technical interventions will assist the local community obtain certificates of the title deeds and a customary land tenure.
This certificate is very important. Let us ping and sensitize our people. Let us get our people have this customary certificate of ownership. And one of the things when I was processing my title here in the city, in Eriaga, it's a big land, it's about 2 acres. Then it was a surveyor who advised me, he said, no, you see, I wanted it to be 1 plot. I said, no, make it into 2 plots. Because if you want money from the bank, take the title for 1 plot, take it to the bank. In case you fail to pay the loan, 1 plot will have remained.
Land registration remains a nightmare, with the locals asking for very low or no-cost incentives to stimulate statutory ownership.
Our people are very poor. They want really to title all their lands, but really their capacity, Madam PS. I request that if we can give them something reasonable, so that they title their land, get into PPP with the developers so that they begin getting something small.
Government is currently urging the public to utilize its new zonal offices under the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development to have their pieces of land titled and certificate of ownership provided under the different forms of tenure, such as customary ownership, freehold, leasing and private mile. Crispus Arinitwe, Vincent Wamundu, UBC News.
And the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, UEDCL, has the need for $70 million annually in the transition of taking over expiring Umeme concession. The distribution body, while releasing its 2022-23 performance report, confirmed the assessment of power infrastructure within Umeme jurisdiction and the requirement that requires urgent maintenance.
The government of Uganda, through Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, has embarked on the transition process of electricity distribution from Umeme to Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited.
We have supported the arrangement, and we will go back as shareholders and prepare for an objection for them to be financially prepared to begin on the investment and the other preparations for takeover. So that is very important to note.
We will deploy them with gadgets called GIS mappers. They've gone across the network, pole by pole, conductor, transformer by transformer, to pick the status of each and every asset that's on the network.
The ministry is in search of an estimate of $220 million to buy out Umeme installed infrastructure.
availability of resources that are required to carry the audits of UMEME as a company, which is an initial requirement, so that government is able to determine how much are we going to pay in terms of buyout amounts, because we are now talking about average as given by the Electricity Regulatory Authority. But we want to know the real figure through auditing. We want to know the status of the assets that UMEME has been holding on behalf of government.
During the 2022-2023 annual general meeting, UEDCL applied for a no objection from stakeholders to support for eligible financiers during the transition period. The company needs $70 million annually for a smooth transition.
So on addition to our revenue that we make, we've engaged financiers, the banks. They've given us offers, and per annum, we need about $70 million, which is equivalent to about 250 billion Uganda shilling. And we believe if we put that money between a period of 3 to 5 years, the network will be in a position to stabilize.
So the capacity building has to continue in terms of financing, but also in terms of human resource. Therefore, this company needs money on itself to be able to spontaneously respond to the needs of the people who are our consumers.
Meanwhile, the ministry plans to engage Uganda Revenue Authority to waive the accrued value-added tax, amounting to 13.7 billion shillings from UEDCL.
Year in, year out, until we are saying that enough is enough. This one must be cleaned off the books of UEDCL. It's not that they don't want to pay this VAT, but it's because that the service that they have offered has not been paid for. But the tax collector is counting the amount of electricity.
The Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited has for long been with the mandate of distributing power in hard-to-reach areas while implementing government programs of rural electrification. Abdul Nasser Lubama for UBC.
Now, the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda has launched the 5th cohort of its prestigious student scholarship program. The program provides student materials and all that is required to study CPA. It supports the academic and professional development of accountants.
At least 10 deserving students from various universities across Uganda were selected to be part of this year's scholarship cohort. The selection process was rigorous, with candidates evaluated based on their academic performance, leadership potential, and commitment to ethical standards in accountancy.
CPAs can be job creators. They don't necessarily have to go looking for jobs. They can create the jobs for themselves. And in this world where we are today, we are looking for people who can create jobs. And that CPA qualification gives you that ability to create jobs. It gives you the opportunity to create jobs for yourselves, but even for the other people within the economy.
A distinguished member of the accounting profession and a respected figure in Uganda's business community, CPA Ruth Doreen Mutebi, was chief guest. She underscored the need to uphold ethics in the practice of accountancy, integrity, transparency, and accountability in financial reporting.
One thing that I have emphasized to them that is very critical is the bit of having values and being ethical. Because being a CPA alone will not make you successful, but you need to abide by the code of ethics of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda, because as accountants we are stewards of resources, we are stewards of finances, and it is important that we protect these resources and use them effectively for the good of our nation.
The Vice President of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda Council, CPA Ronald Mutumba, noted some of the expectations of the scholarship program.
As an institute and society, therefore, have been new because we are doing this as corporate social responsibility. the opportunity by working hard. Working hard can only best be proven by your ability to finish in 2.5 years. And 2.5 years for the CPA course means a lot of commitment.
The scholarship program is ICPAU's commitment to nurture the next generation of accounting professionals.
And Afro-Arab Youth Council is set to construct 5 projects, which include a 20,000-seater sports stadium, cultural heritage center worth $150 million on the 50 acres of land recently donated to it by the president in Nakauka. The Secretary General for Afro-Arab Youth Council, Dr. Abbas Agaba, revealed this during the presser convened at Media Center to highlight activities for the 20th anniversary of the council set to be hosted by Uganda starting on Monday the 4th till the 9th.
The Secretary General for Afro-Arab Youth Council, Dr. Abbas Agaba, says once these proposed projects, which include a sports complex, a hotel, are completed, Ugandans, especially the youth, stand a chance to benefit economically and socially. At least 120 foreign dignitaries are expected at the 20th anniversary of Afro-Arab Youth Council, including a high-profile visit by the son of the late Patrice Lumumba and the ICPC Director General, Dr. Salim Al-Malik.
On Monday, the 4th, is when we have the official opening at Makerere University. We'll have the Director General and Professor Lumumba at Makerere, and the chief guest will be the President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who is also patron of the Afro-Arab Youth Council. Uniquely so, this time we are having what we call an intergenerational dialogue. We are providing for an interaction of young people with a number of high-profile dignitaries who will be here, of course, including the Director General of ICPC, including Professor Lumumba. These 5 projects are: we'll have an office block there, we shall have a stadium, we'll have a University of Science and Technology at the same complex, we'll have a hotel, 3-star or whatever star, depending on those people, at the same complex, and finally, we'll have a cultural heritage center. The good thing is that the lead person in the fundraising is the patron, and His Excellency the President. If the headquarters if the projects are done here, definitely our young people will benefit as employees.
With a recent study showing that 1 in 4 young people in Uganda have a mental health problem and only 15% having access to mental health services, this year's 20th anniversary will highlight the status of mental health in young people.
The theme for this year's celebrations or anniversary activities is youth, peace, culture, and well-being. We want to take advantage of this anniversary to highlight the plight of young people with mental health issues.
Crispus Arinitwe, UBC News.
And now in sports, the national under-20 football team registered success with a 2-1 victory against SBEFC of Ethiopia. Goals by Hakim Mutebi and Bruno Buyanga were enough to secure victory for the side. On return to Kampala, the team resumes residential camp at Njeru Technical Center. Team Uganda continues with preparations for the upcoming All-Africa Games 2023 scheduled for the 7th till the 22nd of March in Accra, Ghana.
in soccer everything can happen. They conceded 3 goals in 15 minutes. It can also happen in Kavule, so it's not yet over. We are going back, collect our mistakes, and face them in the return leg.
Thank my boys, coaching staff. They have done a good job as usual. Kampala University, play good football. Central Lens play good football. Good coach Nono, good coach Titi Kamala. So I want to thank. It was a good game in terms of tactical, game understanding, both sides.
And Uganda Rugby Union has named a squad of 12 players to represent Uganda at the second round of the 2024 World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series in Montevideo, Uruguay. In cricket, the Victoria Pearls, Uganda's women cricket team, got a 6-round victory against Zimbabwe women on their training tour in India.
The rugby squad for the second round of the 2024 edition of the World Rugby Sevens Challenger Series to be played in Montevideo, Uruguay was named this morning at Chadondo Rugby Club. It includes names like Pius Ongena, Desire Ayera, Isaac Musanganzira, Aaron Ofoyoroth, Adrian Casito, Phil Puorokorach, Norbert Okenyi, and Ian Munyani, the captain who represented Uganda during the inaugural edition in 2020. The 8 are joined by Alex Atulinda, Timothy Mugisha, Timothy Kisaga, and Dennis Etau, who will fill the vacant slots.
There are a lot of lessons learned in Dubai. We've worked towards correcting those mistakes, and I guess the team is ready, and we are ready to be better than we were in Dubai, and are hoping for the best.
Until the finals, because that's where we want to finish. If you are to have any chance of getting into the final playoff series.
Uganda finished 9th in the opening round played in Dubai in January this year. For Montevideo, Uganda is pitted in Group C with Germany, Papua New Guinea, and host Uruguay. The team will depart for Uruguay on Saturday, March 2nd, 2024 for the tournament that will run from the 8th to the 10th of March, 2024. The Victoria Pearls got a much-deserved win against Zimbabwe women in their third T20 trial game on their India training tour. The ladies were asked to bat first, setting a score of 145 runs for 6 wickets in 20 overs, with Gloria Abukol and Esther Uruku contributing 50 and 37 runs respectively. In defending, Uganda was able to limit the Lady Chevrons to 139 runs for 8 wickets in 20 overs, with the skipper Konsi Aweko leading from the front with 2 wickets. In the end, Uganda secured a 6-runs victory.
I was very happy about the score we set. My batters really applied themselves. The wicket was favorable for them, and they indeed used that to their advantage and set for us a very good score that we bowlers managed to defend, and it managed to give us a victory, our first victory against Zimbabwe in a very long time. We are really happy about this victory, and we believe we take the momentum. As we are going to play against them in Ghana, we shall still have the same momentum, and we have a lot of lessons to learn.
What was going in my mind at that time when I was batting, we actually just had to maximize the power play and to put a reasonable score on board, because we have actually come here to learn and to learn from our mistakes. So it was an advantage on my side because the wicket was favoring, it was flat, and the bowlers didn't give me that a lot of challenge.
The ladies continue their training tour until the 29th of February 2024, after which they will head to Ghana for their maiden appearance at the African Games. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.
Well, and that does it for news tonight. Thank you for sticking with us. Elizabeth Nakakuni on Sign Language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.